now. Let's see. Wonderful. Great. So what I thought I would do is start off by walking us through just again what it looks like from the teacher view. So this is an abbreviated version of the 20 minutes or so of the first part of the last session. So in case folks are watching this recording or you weren't at the last session, this will give you a sense of as to how it works. So what I'm in here now is the activity session. So I'm going to go in here. Typically I would assign this to a class, but I'm going to create a single class code so that you all can hop in, right? Let's see, I never do this, so let's just see how this works on my end. I'm going to share this code with you, and then you all will be in this activity with me, and you can just, there it is. There it is in the chat. So you can open that, and then you'll be in this with me. And yep, I can see Laura. And see how you can immediately see who is in your class and who is logged in? That's the beauty of this. I'm just going to paste this into the first couple of questions. So again, I click on this pasting button. I'm going to click on number 1 and number 2. So I'm going to restrict to screens 1 and 2. Hey, Amy, would Anne-Marie or someone else, would you all be willing to just copy and paste that student.desmos code from the chat as folks pop in? And once you pop in, you can just jump into this this Desmos activity, and you can start taking it if you would like to. And I'm going to go to the summary screen. So again, you can see, I can see Elizabeth, Anne-Marie, and Laura are all in, and they can start answering. And if for some reason yep, I can see Laura has started answering, how Laura's feeling today. And then if I want to see specifically what each student is writing here, all I have to do is click on this, and I can see. So Elizabeth has just started, I have mixed emotions today, right? And so I am sharing this. I don't always share this, but you can see immediately how students are doing, their feedback. And I'm going to do the overlay. So I can also see a summary of how what students have selected here. No need to spend that much time on it. Really, this is just to show you the power of it and why it can be so helpful. So I'm going to now go to the next question. How much experience do you have with Desmos? So if you look on your screen, what you'll see is in the upper right-hand corner, there's a next button, or you can use your keys on your keyboard to click next through the, yeah, you can use the keys on the, yep, you got it, on the keyboard to go to the next slide. I'm also, Amy and everyone else, if you just popped in, I just put this student.desmos.com link in there too. If you all want to join there, and you can hop in and just start doing this with us. So I can see, great, this is how you would do a poll. I'll show you how to do this. This takes no time at all. It's a multiple choice or multiple selection option. You can either multiple choice or they can select multiple things. And I can quickly do a survey as to how much. So some of you have none. One of you had one training session. You've used it a few times, Laura. Use it regularly, Keisha, awesome. So I can also anonymize here so that you can't see who is answering these questions. And now I'm just going to open up the rest. So now you all, well, actually, let me show you how this works. I'm going to actually pop you to the third question. So this is just a one where you can use the pencil to draw a circle around the state where you were born. What you will notice on your end is it forces you to this next question. And again, on my screen, I can see who is following along with me and who is, you're welcome, Amy, and who is back on the last question. So you can circle it. As a dot pops up, what that indicates is that the person responded to the question. Not that it's correct or not, just that they responded. In the next question, I'll show you, I'm gonna click on this stop button, which will stop the pacing altogether. And now if you all want, you can pop over to question 4, which again, in the upper right-hand corner, I think it says next on the student view. You can move along. You can sort the cards. Once you sort the cards correctly, what you'll see on my end is a check mark. If it's incorrect, because I created a key, it will be a, if it's correct, it'll be check mark. If it's incorrect, it'll be an X. Then you can go to the next one as well. Really, this is, again, just to show you what's possible. And you can see that on question 5, you can check your answers. And I'm just going to keep popping this this code in. If anyone wants to pop in as you come into the meet, feel free to jump in. And then if you would like to, you can also go to question 6. Now, let me show you something that is really annoying for students, but is really effective at getting their attention. I'm going to click this pause button, and now you all can't type anything. So you just have to come back to me, focus. All right, I'm speaking, I'm describing something. I don't want you to be answering the question before we go. Okay, go again. All right, so I can do that. I can also, let's say I want everybody to be in question 6. I know I've shown you this before, but here you go. You're in question 6. Now everybody that has the screen open, their screen will go to question 6. I really just wanted to show you some of the activities real quick. So that was my 5-minute intro to what it is. And hopefully you can see the power of this, because I can immediately see where all of my students are. And if I click on the question, I can see if they got it right or not. I don't think I made this one. Actually, maybe I made an answer key. Let's see. Yes, I did make an answer key for this one. So you can see that Elizabeth got that right. I'm going to ask, if you wouldn't mind, just leave this open. And then at the end, you can ask questions or provide more feedback as well. So now I'm going to go back to this to the agenda. You don't need to go to this agenda at all, just so that you all can see what we're doing next. Next, we're going to create a teacher account. So my thought was today we'll go through and actually create activities. You can follow along and create activities with me. That's the easiest way probably to do this. So all you have to do is go to teacher.desmos.com. And if you haven't already done so, for you, it'll look slightly differently. There will be, I believe, a green Create Account button in the upper right-hand corner. Just click on that and then log in using your Gmail address. And I'm going to assume that it's pretty much done, because that's an incredibly fast thing to do. So is everyone in? Are you all set? Yep. Okay. So let's keep going. So next thing, manage. I'm going to show you for 1 or 2 minutes how to create classes. The way you do this is go over into Manage Classes. So you're in Manage Classes. Super simple. Add new class. All right. So you click on Add New Class. Name it whatever you want. I'll call this Desmos PD number 2. If you all want to just create a class right now so you can play around with it later, go ahead. Or you could create all of your classes right now, because it's really fast. So great. Now you can see I have that class down here, Desmos PD 2, 115. When I go to add students to this class, all I have to do is click on this button, copy, and then only the first time that you have students, or if you have a student that pops in, wasn't there for the first class, you have to do it again. But you will share this with students, and then they're in your class. Okay, so I'll share this with you all so you can be in my class. But I don't know that it's even necessary really to click in. But if you want to see what it looks like from the student side, go ahead and click in there. You won't see anything yet because I haven't added any assignments to it yet. So is that clear? Do you want any more guidance on that? Great. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create activities. This is probably what you all are most interested in today. You can't do anything if you haven't created an activity. So I'm going to walk you through a bunch of different types of questions you can ask, how to create them, and then I'll also show us how to copy and paste screens and slides from other presentations, from other activities that students or that teachers have created. So just to back up a little bit, the lesson that we're creating, they call that an activity in Desmos. And then the individual questions, those are called screens. Okay, so to do this, all you have to do, and if you want to and you feel comfortable, it's not going to be stressful, just follow along and try this with me. You can click on Custom over in the left-hand corner, not corner, but left-hand side. Probably nothing will show up on your screen because you haven't, unless you've created activities before. Then you click here on Create New Activity. So again, I'm just going to title this Desmos Demo. You can title it, obviously, whatever you want. Be number 2, 115, create new activity. Okay. So if you're following along and you've done this, takes just a second. It'll create a blank activity. Now this is the activity builder page. So from here, what we'll do is the first question that I thought we could create is, well, first of all, you can add multiple elements. So you can add a text input, you can add a drawing, and you can add a note all on the same page. So you don't just have to add one of these at a time. But for the purposes of this, I'll for the most part just be adding one or two elements at a time. But you can add a bunch of elements on one screen. Okay. So the first thing I thought I would do is the most basic, and the one that if I were starting off at this new, this is the one that I would use because it takes the least preparation and it's great for a lot of different subjects. So to create this, I just clicked on text input. I'll delete this so you can see. Click on text input. I don't want my students to show each other their answers in this case. And then you can put a prompt or not. You could just call this question 1 or just leave it blank. If you want to see what it's going to look like for your students, just click up here on the right-hand corner where it says preview. And this is what it'll look like for your students. And then to get out of it, click the X or escape. So maybe you want to say, summarize, this is the last, summarize what you learned over the past 10 minutes, right? You could start off super simple. And then that would be kind of, that's just an example. So that's how you would do an input. Now I'm going to show you how to do a text response, text input. Now, next question, if you'd like to, what I thought I would do is show you how to put a note. So Anne-Marie was asking, is it possible to link is it possible to link to another, like a Google Doc or another document? Absolutely. So I clicked here, I clicked on note. I'm also going to add a text input below. Sounds good. And what you'll do here is I'm going to go up and just copy and paste a random link. I'm going to copy and paste it from here, and I'll pop it in. So copy. Sorry, this is all in Spanish, but wrong page. So I go to this, and then it says select the text, edit the link, and then you just update the link there. So I could actually call this agenda. Over here, select it here, copy and paste. I'm doing Control V, save, boom. So now I want to see what that looks like for my students. It looks like agenda. If I click on that agenda, it'll open the agenda in another page. Now, of course, you wouldn't just say agenda. You would say, please open the agenda. And then in this part, students could answer questions. All right, next question type. And just no problem. The next one is multiple choice. All of this is relatively straightforward once you see it. So multiple choice. Here we go. All I did was clicked on this multiple choice. Now, again, if I wanted to put a note or description of what to do for this multiple choice, or give even a reading or something like that, I could put it all up there. Okay. Multiple choice. All you have to do is click here. I'm just going to call it 1, 2, 3, 4. And I am going to hide this for a second. And then if you want, you can randomize choices there, which just when the students get it, they will see it in a different order. And then to preview what this would look like, well, you can ask them to explain their answers. You can show them each other's answers. I wouldn't do that for sure. Click on preview, and you'll be able to see what that question looks like. I wanted to show you another type of multiple choice question. Actually, let me show you something slightly different while we're here. You can also, let's say you want to switch this to check boxes. You can change this to check boxes, and now when students click on it, they can select multiple answers. So maybe you don't want just to be one correct answer. I'm going to create another question that is also multiple choice, but I'm going to show you how to add images. So here I just clicked on multiple choice. Now I could do check boxes. It's the same. It looks the same. Then I'm just going to show you how I oftentimes get images, how I always get images. This is just a random presentation that I had open. We were talking about things that were in style and now are or are not in style. So the way you can do it is if you do Shift Command 4, you can do a small screenshot. This will save it to wherever your screenshots are. I'm just going to take a few of these. I'll take it of these pants. I'll take it of these pants. And I'm just going to imagine that I'm saying which of these are in style right now. Okay. So then I would go here, add image. It gives me the option here. Since I've gone to this place before, it saved that location. So I just click on open. Okay, that's the first image. Now I want to add another image. What you'll notice is it's super fast and easy. Open, boom, done. I don't want my students to see this one. Sure, I want them to explain this. So maybe here I type the question, which style of pants is da, 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 da. Okay. Preview just in case you want to see. And then what students see is they just see visual representations here. They click here. And then when you click on explain your thinking, they have to type. So there are tons of different applications you could have here. Which of these lines best describes, or which slope best describes this equation, for example? Explain your thinking, whatever the case may be. Okay, so does anybody want me to slow down? Am I going at okay speed? Okay, so next one, sketch. You can do sketch, all you do, same thing, come over to this part over here, click on sketch. When you do this, what students will see without any background is just a blank page. So you might say, I don't know when exactly you would use this. Draw a representation, or draw your fingers and draw the bones in your hand and label the different bones or something like that. I almost never use that. What I almost always use is this background. So you can put a background and then have students draw over a background, which in my opinion is a much more applicable way to use this. So maybe you just upload a graph without any coordinates filled in, and you give them an equation, and then they have to actually draw what roughly it would look like on that graph. Now, with math, there are tons of other applications that I don't use, so there are much better ways to use it. I'm just going to randomly pull this pants picture again, since we already got it and you saw how to do that, just so you can see. Now, if we do preview here, this is what it'll look like. Circle, or if I'm teaching Spanish, circle the pants. Circle the neutron. Circle the electron. Draw the orbit of the electron on this image. Highlight, or another thing you could do that actually is really helpful for if you're teaching a language or in the humanities, is maybe you take a picture. I'm just going to take a quick screenshot of this. So again, I just did the Shift Command 4. And I'm going to change around I'm going to delete this. I'm going to add another one. Another sketch. I'm going to add the background. And what we can do is someone actually has to highlight the text. So highlight the part of this, highlight the introduction to this, highlight whatever the case may be. Draw a circle around the supporting arguments. All they do is this. Oh, okay, well, you can see how that would work, and hopefully different applications that you may use. All right, I know I'm going relatively quickly, but hopefully, if you want me to slow down, back to the day. Exactly, back to the day. The next one is super simple, straightforward as well, like all of these are. Click here, and you can create an ordered list. This is what I said, like World War I to World War II. So I'll call this B, A, E, I don't know, C. Creative, right? And then you can actually use the order here as the answer key. So it'll self-check this for you. A, B. So I want the order to be this. So I want this is the order. Okay. And I already randomized it automatically randomizes the items for you, because of course you don't want it in the order before you do it. Now, if I click on preview, you can see that for students, it shows up not being in order. So all right, boom. And then you don't have to, you could also create a check for this as well. And I'll show you how to create a check, like another screen where students can check and see if they got it right or not. And I can show you all how to do that in a minute. So again, just showing you different things here. Another thing that I should point out while we're on this is it's really easy to move these. So if you're creating this yourself and you realize, oh, I actually wanted, I don't know, I wanted this hammer pants one to go first. You just slide it over. If you want to delete a slide, just click here. If you want to copy and paste a screen, all you have to do is Command C. See how it blinks on my screen here? Command C. That's copying, and then I can go Command V, Command V, Command V. And so now I've got 4 copies of that question. Of course, this isn't the application in which you would use that, but I'm just showing you that that's possible. Okay, the next one that I'll go through is the basic card sort. And then if you're interested at the end, let me know and I can show you how I create the card sorts for my own class. And the way that I do it is I start off with what I want them to know at the end. Yes, you can copy between activities, and I'll show you how to do that in, well, we're going faster than I thought, so probably another like 7 minutes. So the way that I do the card sorts is I start off with, well, why don't I just show you? I think I can show you pretty quickly. So the way I start off is what I want them to know at the end. So assume that this is a definition. Number 1 goes with A. All I'm doing is clicking on math or text. Number 2 goes with B. Number three goes with C. And I'm just clicking again over here to get these. Number 4 goes with, you got it, D. Okay, so I've created this. Now I want to create an answer key. This is creating the answer. It's so, one of my favorite things about Desmos is, while it's not fancy, did I do this wrong? 3, 3. I think I may have 1, 2. Let me go back. I apologize. It's embarrassing. 1A, 2B, 3C. Yep. Talking and trying to do it at the same time. So let's go back to this answer key. 1A, 2B, and you can create 3C. You can also create extraneous answers so that your students have a little bit more question in their mind as to if they have to think a little bit harder about it. Okay, so this is the basic, right? If you just wanted to test or quiz your students on some material that you've already provided them with, excellent. Now, there's another way to use this, which is to essentially teach them a concept using card sorts. And the way you do that is you're just taking advantage of working memory by, I'm going to copy this slide. So I did Control C, and I'm going to go Control V. I'm going to go, so this is, I'll just call this like, this is the main one. This is the main page, just so you can see here. That's where I'll call it main number 4. So this has all 4 definitions. Assume it could be a definition in English. It could be a science definition. It could be a formula, match the slope with I keep using that same example, with the equation, etc. But you get the idea. What I do is vocab oftentimes. So I'm going to go back, and what I've done is copied that slide. Now this is the same thing as I had right here. You'll notice that the answer key is still set, so I don't have to change that at all. But I want to get rid of the last one. Great. Now I only have 3 cards. Now you can imagine what I'm going to do next. Copy and paste. And for the next one, and you don't have to label it this way, I'm just doing it so it's easier to visually see. They're only going to be, I'm going to get rid of the other ones. Now I'm going to do that again. I'm going to copy, and I'm going to paste, and I'm going to get rid of the last one. So here we go. Boom, boom. Now, if you're a student, what you see on your end is it says went fui. Okay, so a student sees that. They have to think through it. They have to remember that. Then they go to the next one, and they have to remember, okay, A matches with B. Okay, I remember that. Well, it must be that B matches with 2. Sorry, A matches with 1. And then, again, in their working memory, they have to keep in mind the prior 2 that they've learned. 1 goes with A, okay, 2 with B. So this can be a way to actually teach students or help them to memorize terms. And the cool thing is, students can go back and they can, if they've forgotten, they have that scaffolding that they can go back and look at the answer because they have the prior answers there for them. Okay, this is just, it's a way that I kind of came up with that I really like to use vocab. It gets old after, you don't want to do it like every single class, of course, but it's been really, my students actually said they find it to be more helpful than Quizlet. And I think the reason is because forces them to keep them in their mind. And of course, this isn't going to lead into long-term acquisition necessarily, but it's a review, or it's an activity to introduce something. Okay, so I'm going to show you now, let's see, I'm going to show you how to do a self-check card sort. And the way that I'll do this is I'm actually going to open, Anne-Marie, you were asking about, is it possible to use, is it possible to copy from screens from different activities? And so this is the way you do it. You can, the beauty of this is if you're a math teacher in particular, there are tons of things out there. If you're another type of teacher, if people in your department start creating materials, you can share amongst yourselves. You can also copy and paste starter screens and those sorts of screens, regardless of what you teach. So I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to go to a place where I know that I had a self-check, and this is in the last presentation that I did with you all. So there are a couple of ways to do it. The one way to actually one way to do this is you go into the, one way to copy it is go into edit your activity, and then it'll show up on your screen just like this. You do the same thing, you copy and then you paste, but I'm going to show you the different way. Without even going into the edit activity, you can just quickly look through like, oh, where, because I want to find it quickly, which hopefully I'll be able to. There it is. So this is the screen, and you can copy. You can see it gives you the command right there too. Command screen, copied, new, now paste into the activity builder. Okay, so I go into here, and then I'm just going to use the shortcut Command V. There it is. Now you will see that there is a little orange like caution sign here and here. That is because this is just a little bit of coding. It's super easy. That is because this sort 2 is not associated with anything within this activity. So what I have to do is if I only want this one to be checked, then I would call that sort 2, and you'll immediately see, oh, there's no error there. Okay, I'm going to show you if you wanted to. I'm going to copy this again, and I'm going to paste it here. And let's say you don't want to just have students check once. You want them to be able to check their answers throughout so they don't get frustrated, get to the end, realize they didn't know it, and give up. So right here, I'm going to change. There's kind of a problem here. Right now, it's checking that sort 2, which was this one here. But I want it to be checking their answers for this one here. So what I'm going to do is go in here, and I'm going to label this sort 1. Okay. You could call it sort 4, 5, doesn't make any difference as long as you change it in here. And you'll just go here, change this to sort 1, done. I did not create any of this code. Sorry, Stephanie. But this, now what you will see is I'm going to go into preview. I'll do one right and I'll leave one blank, and you'll see what will happen. Okay. Cool. Then I'm going to go here, click on check my work, and what it should say is you got 1 out of 2 right. Yep, or you got 2 out of 4 right. Okay, so that's the basics. There are a couple of other things that I want to show you that will take just a couple of minutes, which are going in and actually how you publish this activity. There was something else. Oh, I also wanted to show you that in this document that I shared with you all, if you click here on this link here, there are a number of screen check-ins, check for understandings, etc., that you can copy and paste into your own. If you find it, shuffle. Exactly. Thank you. Yep. That's Anne-Marie. I can show you how to do this. I also in this document, you see how it says how-to video? I created a how-to video so you can watch that again. But I did not say what Stephanie said, which is incredibly important. In this video, I didn't realize it, but you have to make sure that for each thing that you want to check, you name it a different name. After you look through it again, you'll figure it out. And if you don't, just let me know. So I was showing you these check-in screens. These These are different. You can screens for checking in, screens for checking for understanding. I'll just click on the screens for checking in and you'll be able to see some of the options. You know, how are you feeling? What's new? Checking in. I'm going to close that. I'm going to copy one because I went through a ton of people's presentations and just found a bunch of kind of fun check-in screens. They're goofy, they're silly. They can be a good way to start class. And I'm going to copy one from here. Again, this is linked in that Desmos agenda PD, Desmos PD session 2 agenda. So let's just go through, and I mentioned how you could do it when you click on the actual screen itself. So maybe this time I'll show you again what it looks like if I click on edit the activity and how to copy and paste it from the activity builder itself. It's the same as we just did, but I want to show you as many ways as possible. Something I should say that's kind of a bummer is that at this point you can't copy and paste multiple screens, but you can copy a prior activity that you've done. So I do that all the time. I copy a prior activity and then I just delete the screens I don't want and then I add new ones. So this here, this is a SpongeBob one. I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna click on Command C. You can see it popped up to our activity builder, and it would make most sense. I'll put it at the beginning just because that makes the most sense. Put it at the beginning, and then you'll see it actually pops up after whichever screen you're on. So now we have a screen there. Okay, that's all I'm planning on talking about in terms of how to build the activities, but there are a couple of important things here that you will need to know in order to make this work. First is you have to publish. You have to publish your activity before you can share it with students. Yes, and Stephanie, I didn't read the end, but Stephanie can help you on that too, which is awesome, on the coding. Thank you. So now it's published. This just means it can be assigned to students. So the way to assign it to a class is you just click on here, assign to your classes. If you just want to play around with it and you don't want to create classes or anything, you can do a single session code, but I always assign it to my classes. So I don't want to make my students confused. So I'm only going to assign it to you all right now. And if you were to go back into student.desmos.com now, what you would see on your end is what your students will see, which is this activity. Now, what I have to do is at the beginning of class, I have to click on this view dashboard. And this will take me into that dashboard that you all saw me on earlier, where you as the teacher, the person who created it, or co-collaborators, I've never used that, but you can collaborate. Apparently, again, I've never used it. This is the screen. So Laura popped in there. You didn't need to, but if you wanted to, you could, and you would just see, and this is where I can then control it. Now, if you leave this open, if you do not have pacing on and you do not have it paused, students can do this late. So they can go in and they can do their late work here. What I tell my students, because it's easier for me, and basically because it's easier for me, is if they miss class, what they need to do is create a Google, and I have instructions in a Google Doc. Go through, label number 1, label number 2, label number 3, number 4, and for each question, put it in the Google Doc and then share it with me. And then it's pushed to me rather than me having to go back and look at all of these activities, because it can become a lot if you have to go back through and look at all of these. Now for math, another way to do this, actually, I never thought of this. This is actually a better way. Probably from now on, I'll do it this way. What I'll probably do is I'll have students take a screenshot of their answers and just pop it into the Google Doc. That's even better. And then you could do it for any subject and they don't have to go through writing 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm learning as I do this as well. So we published. I'm going to go back and we've assigned it. The only thing that you really need to do is make sure that, well, let me say this. You are going to want to create a class, share that code with your class, and then after those students have that class code, every time you click on that assign button, and I'll show you how to go back and find that. So to find what you created, you go into custom. Every time that you have assigned this activity, so Desmos activity, and I've assigned this to classes, what will happen is All a student has to do is go to student.desmos.com, and those activities will show up in chronological order. So my students at this point, I don't even have anything. I actually still have the option. I do have something where it says visit student.desmos.com, but 3/4 of the students just go to student.desmos.com as soon as they get in my class. They start it before classes even started. And what I oftentimes do is I paste them into the first few questions. So some students will get in there, they'll answer the first few questions, and then they're like, sweet, then I don't have to, then I can just take a couple minute break. I know I'm all set. That's fine with me, right? I would rather have them get in there and start working on something. And there are a couple of other small pieces that I want to tell you. And this is important. If you create an activity and then later want to edit it, that's fine. You can edit it to your heart's content. You just click up here, click on edit your activity. But the edits will not automatically, they will not, if you have assigned the class prior, it will not populate, it will not update your activity for the classes that you have already assigned. Which I understand why they do that, but that's a comment that was I put a post in Desmos' Facebook page. That was the #1 thing teachers wanted them to change. But I can see why they may or may not do it. So what you have to do is go back after you make a change. Let's just say I delete this slide. It doesn't matter what slide. I delete this slide, delete it, then I publish it. Then I have to unassign the activity if I've assigned it to a class, and then reassign it. So the time this is the biggest pain is, and the thing that is most painful is you can't edit this on the fly. So as you're doing, if students are in it and you unassign it, then they get kicked out of that. So are you sure you want to remove this? Yep, I do. And then all you have to do is reassign it. What I normally do is I use my first class as not a guinea pig, but I only assign it to the first class that's going to use it. And then almost inevitably I find I spelled something wrong, or there's something that I could do to make it better that'll take just a quick tweak. Then before the next class, it takes, you saw how long it takes, like 5 seconds, maybe a minute to edit and then to reassign. I do that. And then the rest of my classes have the final version. So that's my way around it. Do students lose questions? No. So that's, students do not lose their work if you edit it afterward, unless you unassign it from them and then reassign it. So just after students have started working on something, don't unassign that. But if it's a class where no one's gone in there, they haven't done anything, that's fine. And I think that's the reason that they don't automatically update it, is because imagine if you deleted like 5 slides, it just gets super messy. Okay, Elizabeth, when you went to edit, I saw that it had a collaborate feature. Does that work well for those who have co-teachers? I know numbers, collaborate feature doesn't work well at all. Stephanie, or Elizabeth, I said Stephanie, sorry. Elizabeth, the short answer is I don't know. I have not used that yet, so I don't know, but it's something to play with. I don't know. My guess is it works easily because almost everything that I do in Desmos is incredibly simple, but I don't know. So I'm gonna open it up. I'm actually gonna ask if you all don't mind in a second. Well, let me give the last part here, and then I'm gonna ask you to go back into the activity builder, put any comments or questions, and then I'll just hang on for any other questions that you all may have. But what's next? If you want to, you can join this Desmos Educators Facebook page. There are 10,000 plus members. They're mostly math. It's an amazing place. They're super supportive for teachers. I also created this Desmos for language teachers. Honestly, they're also incredibly supportive as well. Mostly world language teachers, but if you want to, feel free. I don't get any money or anything from it, but they're super supportive, helpful people. Also, here are a bunch of tutorials that you can use for getting started. Here is how you can find Desmos activities, especially if you're math. But the sciences have a number, and there are a few history ones on there. What I would primarily use this for is just ideas as to how you could create activities. It's great for that. So you could type in World War II Desmos activity, and there might be 3 or 4 that pop up, but it will show you how you maybe could do it. And then I did a longer intro on this, and then I've created and found a number of other how-to videos and things. And then there are templates at the very bottom. And then the last thing is you'll see on this agenda, I tried to link to little shorter videos. If you forget how to do it, it's there. And now the last thing, if you all would be willing, I'm just going to share this link again. So the way you can do it, for example, oops. Oh, there it is. Okay. I can share it real quick by clicking here. If you're not in and you don't mind just going to this last page, I'm going to paste everybody into it. And then you'll see, again, if you missed this at the beginning, you'll see how powerful this is, because as you all type, actually, I'm going to anonymize it so you don't have to be embarrassed. And I actually won't show you, but you can see right here. Do you have any questions about Desmos? Right now, no. I need to play around with it. You can see as teachers or students are typing, you can see their answers. I'm not going to go back to this because I want you all to be honest and put your honest feedback, but I am going to pop it up to my other screen and just look at what you all say. And if you have questions, you can ask them here, or you can ask them in the chat. And I guess I'll just keep recording, because why not? But that was it. And let's see. What I oftentimes do as students are writing answers, I read them out loud, especially if I don't think they're going to embarrass anyone. So do you have any questions? Probably, but I'll need to come back and work on it. Not really. I need to work with it a little bit. The codes, I need to watch the recording. Yeah, not yet. No, still finding all of the great things. Quick overview. What did you like about the PD session? Okay, great. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then I'd particularly would love any changes, because I'm going to be delivering a similar presentation during an RVA Tech, I can't remember what it's called, RVA Tech Collaborative or something like that, later this year. So I'm here. If you all need any help, you can ask now, unmute yourself, or type in the chat. If not, I hope you all have a great day.
Thank you, Josh. That was awesome.
You are welcome. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Josh. I didn't realize I was unmuted, so I don't know what I was saying while you
weren't saying anything.
Okay.
I didn't hear anything aside from that stupid man.
No. I often talk to myself when I'm going through it. So, but thank you.
I didn't hear anything. You're welcome. Bye.